This is my favorite shop project so far. It's a Dewalt router table extension and it is super sturdy and completely built out of construction lumber. And even dust extraction. Oh, I need to stop hiding those everywhere. Anyway, let's go to the build.
Welcome, this is Tom from Cool About Woodworking, and the first step in this build is breaking down the lumber to size for our legs. And that brings us already to our first pro tip. After we measured the first piece, we are not using the tape measure anymore. We are trying to always measure from the lumber itself. Especially construction lumber has lots of inconsistencies and it just makes much more accurate cuts and accurate work for us. We are using half laps in our builds, and how we do them is a little bit different. We are taking two 2x4s and making one shorter than the other one, exactly the width of a 2x4, so that we can then half lap it in and we don't need to cut the half laps later, and we also don't need to buy different materials, only 2x4s. Now we countersink some screws, and I opted here not to glue the legs together, but you can certainly do so. I did not because this is my first draft of this project and I didn't know if I wanted to change this later. So for absolute stability, just glue them together, but I think my screws here will be plenty strong. So now to those half laps. We are setting this cross brace in exactly the width of a 2x4 so that this 2x4 has space later on, and we are making everything square with those amazing clamps I got from Amazon. Guys, all those products I'm using here, they are all in the description below. If you are in the market for anything of it, go through that. You don't pay anything extra and it helps me out a ton. I get a little bit of a kickback from that. So our first set of legs are done. Now we have to connect them together with this cross brace, again making sure that everything is square. Those really square clamps help a lot, and we always countersink our screws so that everything stays snug together and the screws don't go in the way of anything. After we are done with all of this assembly of our base, we are doing our first test fit and make sure that this frame is within the fence brackets of the table saw, and you can see here it fits perfectly. Still a little bit unstable, but that's no problem because now we're cutting some more cross braces. They go into it, and we are using pocket holes to put them together, which is gonna be awesome. That's a new technique, or relatively new technique I'm practicing, and nothing better than practicing on a shop project. So always try to practice new techniques for yourself. So these two cross braces here on the top are for the router plate and supporting the router itself. The router is quite a hefty one. It's the TRA001 from Triton. It's quite heavy and I was worried that the plywood doesn't hold it. So I put some cross braces in there to support the router. Now the cross braces on the bottom are for general stability and longevity. Look how hard this guy is working. Insane. The next step is we are putting our adjustable legs on it, and they are pretty easy. I'm gonna screw them on, I pre-drill a hole, make the hole bigger, and then screw them back on again. And yay, it is working. And I do that exactly 4 times. Yes, we just cut the tabletop to size, and one tip I can give you there is cut it oversized, leave a centimeter overhanging on each side. It makes the installation so much easier, and then flush trim it with your flush trim router. So we are ready to cut out the hole for the router, and the router plate still needs to be supported by the plywood. So we traced out the router plate and measured in about a centimeter of each side, and this is the hole that we are cutting out right now. Now we are ready for the second tabletop, which is a 9mm plywood, which is the exact thickness of my router plate. I'm tracing it out on the bottom here, and again leave a little bit of overhang to flush trim it later. Now we have to find somehow the position of the hole underneath. So I'm just tracing it out here and then turn it over. Theoretically there should be a 1 centimeter gap everywhere, but you can see me here measuring triple and quadruple just because I want it to be as snug of a fit as possible for this router plate. Thank you, guys. I'm blushing already, please. While I'm sanding the rough edges here on the background and countersink a couple of more screws into this tabletop, maybe consider liking this video. This helps me out a ton, and it helps out to spread this video to other people as well who might be interested in this topic. Guys, I really appreciate your support. So the next step is a tricky one. We have to mount our router onto that plate, but the plate is not pre-drilled, so we have to do our drilling ourselves. The first thing we do is we have to prep the router, so we get this plate off, we get the dust collection out, and also we have to remove the spring, which was scary because that one jumped out insanely strong. To drill those holes, we're using a mobile drill press from Mills & Craft, and it's amazing. Like, I'm super surprised how well that actually works, and I don't even need a drill press anymore because this is working so well. And for your convenience, as usual, this is linked in the description below. Let's do a test fit with the router itself, and oh, thank God, everything worked fine. Next, we have to drill the hole for the router lift handle. This router, Triton TRA001, comes with a router lift inbuilt and also the handle and everything for it. So this router is really the perfect router with 3¼ horsepower for a router table. So let's test it out and see how well it works. And I was surprised how easy actually it got in. I thought it would be a little bit fiddly, but it was extremely easy. Next we're building the table saw stand, and for that we have to mill down some lumber, but suddenly my miter saw made this horrible sound. Well, we don't have a miter saw anymore, which is no problem because we have a circular saw, and this build can be also done with a circular saw instead of a miter saw. And at least I can show you how easy that build really is, and you really need only basic tool to complete it. So the process of the legs and the frame are the exact same, with the one difference that we actually mount the other side of the frame onto our existing one with pocket holes and obviously a supporting beam underneath. Finally, we can test fit our Dewalt table saw, and it fits perfectly. It's perfectly flush, and I'm so excited to get a table saw back again, guys. You can't imagine how difficult life in the woodshop is without a table saw once you're used to it. I hope you enjoyed this first cut as much as I did. Okay, we are building our dust extraction, and for that we need to build a little box that fits underneath the router and encloses the router as well. So the plan is to mount this blast gate into our dust box, and I try to get as low as possible, basically touching the ground so that there is no dust stuck underneath the blast gate. And for that we're using our trusty jigsaw, which has 6 years warranty, which is insane. I love Ryobi. And yes, well, it fit perfectly. Now we are making this box as square as possible again with our square clamps, and we brad nail everything together, and this box comes together nicely, very quick and easy. One thing I forgot is to make this gate for turning on the router and also cleaning out this dust box. So we're doing it now, which is a little bit more inconvenient, so try to do it before you put everything together. The next step here is to nail on the bottom of the box and then fit it. It's a very tight fit, so I actually had to hammer it in a little bit, but it fit in the end. Wow, this is working actually amazing. And you can see how much suction there is on. I haven't mounted any kind of brackets there that have to be mounted still, but it sucks it in so intensely that it holds by itself. And you can see here there's almost no dust in the box, a little bit in the corner, but that's about it. We're doing an extreme test here where I got some sawdust out of the vacuum, and I'm trying here how much could actually be left over after a while of doing routing and having different materials in there. And as I suspected, there's a little bit back in that corner, but that's about it. So that's not gonna be a lot, and I think I can live with that and vacuum it out every now and then. If you've made it so far, subscribe now to the channel, because there will be more content out for you like that. As usual, I appreciate you and I like to thank you for watching.